Hello Internet, Zach here, and welcome back to Sagebrush and Silicon. Today I'm going to be building the solar array. So I have the solar panels in a box behind me, some lumber, and this pallet that we just randomly found lying around on the homestead. So let's get started. I've already had the box of solar panels open before. It's time to unbox them again. Charge controller and associated wires. And the one panel whose protective glass got shattered in transit. I've already tested this panel before I left Carlton. This actually still works. It has a little less output than the intact panels, but this will be okay for now. This is the box of mounting hardware. This is technically my second attempt to build a frame for the panels. My first attempt failed, so I took it apart and decided to try again. And I also realized I miscalculated. I didn't buy enough lumber for this. So I'm going to do the best I can with what I have and build a temporary frame for the solar panels. Goofy hexagonal screws. Good thing Amelia's socket set survived the U-Haul disaster. Alright, mounting the second group of solar panels. It's important to make sure that the power connectors, these here, are on the same side. So I'm going to line them up so this group down the center shares mounting holes. Adding some structural bracing. Now for the wiring. So off the back of each panel, there's a positive wire, a negative wire, and the manufacturer supplied these connectors here. So, grab a positive and a positive. Plug them into their connector. A negative and a negative. Plug them into their connector. Positive from the top, positive from the bottom. Okay, here are the cables that go to the solar panel. They have the funny connector ends on this side and bare wire on this side to go into the terminals of the charge controller. And I put some pink tape on the positive side so I know which side is which and I don't screw things up in embarrassing and destructive ways. This is the charge controller that came with the solar panels. This is one of the 2 batteries that we have for the solar power system, but I'm going to start with just this one. This here is a convenient little voltage, current, and power monitor. And this is to monitor the charging of the battery. Comes with a nice wiring diagram on the back. So first things first, these two wires, which connect to the shunt. This is the shunt. It's a resistor of a known value. A current through the resistor produces a voltage that's exactly proportional to that current. And this device can measure that voltage and know how much current is flowing through this resistor. And by separately measuring the voltage across the battery with these two leads, it's able to tell how much power is being pushed into the battery. So I'm going to put these little loopy terminals on here. That makes for a more solid connection. Alright, now this charge controller was meant to connect directly to the battery. It kind of didn't have in mind that I was going to put one of these in the way. So I'm going to take this negative wire here and try to strip a little extra insulation off. Black will go to the charge controller, so the red side goes to the battery. And it would be best actually if I used terminals like these. I just don't have any big enough right now. Anyway, the other end of this wire goes to the negative terminal of the battery. Okay, so here I have a length of speaker wire that I'm going to use to complete the negative connection. And I've just twisted both wires in this together. It's not the best way to do this, but it is what I have on hand. So this goes into the negative side of the charge controller. Make sure it's in nice and securely. And this here is the positive wire that goes to the battery, again marked with hot pink tape. Alright, now we connect to the positive of the battery, and you see the monitor just turned on. And currently, no current, no power. Okay, everything's connected. Getting a shade over 257 watts. Which isn't bad for the panels not being tipped to the correct angle. Anyway, next comes the inverter. Don't tell G.I. Joe, it's a Cobra inverter. It's really easy to set up. The inverter is set up and connected to the batteries. I have an extension cord plugged into it. Running back to the tent over here. So now I'm gonna plug in the air mattress. And the air mattress is inflating with power from the inverter. It rained the other day, so I had to move all the solar power stuff inside of my tent. Anyway, we're currently not generating any power because the battery's full, so the charge controller stops trying to charge the battery. You know, not charging the battery is better than making the battery explode, right? Anyway, this little shunt resistor here I connected directly to the negative post of the battery to save space. And I'm gonna fix this connection here. I picked up some terminals to fix that with. Okay, before I mess with anything else, the first thing I have to do is disconnect the solar panels from the charge controller. Because if you disconnect the battery with the solar panel still attached, the manual says this can damage the charge controller. Selecting the proper size of terminal. Okay, I didn't film crimping the terminal because I needed two hands and I don't really have a place to put a tripod inside the tent where it's going to be sturdy. So anyway, that's the new nice solid crimped connector. It's been a couple of days. I've been able to acquire funding to get the two pieces of lumber to stiffen this up correctly. So I'm going to take these old support braces off and replace them with the new ones. Now the frame is stiffer, the panels are sitting flat, and the frame's now bent in the center. And it's possible to lift this as a unit now. Of course, to actually transport this is going to require two people, but I can easily pick it up and tilt it without worrying that I'm going to flex the panels.